Sub-Commander Kralt was worried. Very, very worried. This was a simple shakedown cruise of his first and only command vessel. He'd insisted on beginning trials this cycle, overriding his chief engineer and second, with just a bare-bone crew at that. Vertice Actual, what is our current distance to the primary in this system? Sub-Commander, we are only 12.45 million calls from Luca. I am not in a stable orbit currently and cannot engage the slip drive this close to a gravity well. Hull integrity is 98% and falling. I have initiated a series of rotations to keep the heat buildup within tolerance, for now. Great, just great. This ship's AI is just a youngster. The AI that had been made for this vessel had developed an anomalous personality just cycles before it was to be installed aboard this vessel. Something that could have delayed him taking command of this vessel and possibly moving him out of his assigned command slot. Since the end of the war, getting a new command was a rare thing at best, and Kralt wasn't going to risk missing what could be his only chance. So, he'd ordered a newly minted AI installed, one named Vertice. At least he had the failed AI's rote memory available to help get it up to speed somewhat. And to make matters even worse, he will now be forced to interact with that creature. The same one who said his whole business with installing Vertice was a big mistake. Vertice, please send Fred to the bridge. Fred seemed to be standing outside the door. Because no sooner had the hail gone out than he walked through the heavy door, barely waiting for it to open completely. What's wrong? I know something is wrong. I told you. You will address me as Sub-Commander Kralt. Yes, Sub-Commander Kralt. Can you tell me what's going on? I'm getting some conflicting information from Vertice. We initiated a simple test of the slip drive. We were to enter slip space for just 3 ticks, taking this vessel out to the orbit of the 5th planet and then return to the shipyard. The impulse engines have not yet been installed. All we have is the slip drive. The first leg of the test run went perfectly, but then immediately, Vertice initiated a second slip and we now find ourselves. Tell him, Vertice. Fred Killian, we are only 12.22 million calls from Luca. I am not in a stable orbit currently and cannot engage the slip drive this close to a gravity well. Hull integrity is 91% and falling. I have initiated a series of rotations to keep the heat buildup within tolerance, for now. Vertice, why didn't you tell me this when I asked you a few moments ago, outside the bridge? I did not receive command authority to do so. What? Kralt? Sub-Commander Kralt, boomed Kralt. He rose from his command chair, glaring up at Fred from waist high. Fred found it amusing that nearly all other sentient species were shorter than a 6-year-old human child. Sub-Commander Kralt, Vertice is telling me that you didn't give essential command authority to it. Why is this? I am the commander of this vessel. I decide what happens here. And giving Vertice the command authority to freely give information to you and your ilk is not something I will do lightly. The only reason you're even here is. Fred interrupted. Is that it is a Tier 1 law that every vessel with a command AI have a human aboard, and that he or she will be given kernel-level access to the AI. Something I had up until just about an hour at time ago. You dare remind me of this? You insolent worm. Your primitive species should not be allowed to sail the cosmos. You can't even detect gravity waves with your, 5 senses? 5. Speltions have 12. How did your pathetic species even survive before we found you? Fred was rubbing his temples again. The Speltions were just about the worst clients an art guide could get. His new boss is also his ex-wife, a turn of events that even a cynic like Fred couldn't have predicted. Sub-Commander, I know full well your feelings on humans. Despite your species' well-known xenophobia, your own council has made this law. I'm here to help, and your government is paying me quite well for this help. Now, if you would let me do my job. Can you please instruct Vertice to give me admin-level clearance to his systems? Vertice Actual, override Alpha 77, Target Virgo. And Fred, target Virgo is a one-time key, so don't get any ideas that you can get it back if I take it away again. Thank you, Sub-Commander. Vertice, why don't you engage the slip drive at low power and stabilize your orbit around the system's primary? I do not know. Oh great. Not this again. Vertice, you accessed the road memory from the AI Samton. Is this not adequate for your needs? I accessed the data and it was confusing. Why did you not tell me this before? I do not know. I am detecting an anomalous response when I try to specify the reason for this. Vertice, you and I spent some time on this. What human emotion most closely describes this anomalous response? Kralt had just about enough of this. Why are you wasting your time speaking with a machine about emotions? This is why humans are reviled across the entire hegemony. Please, Sub-Commander. Humor me. Please answer the question, Vertice. According to the lessons given by Fred Killian on human emotions, the anomalous response is best approximated by fear. Fear. Okay, good, we can work with that. What is it exactly that is triggering this emotion? And Vertice, AIs do have emotions, despite what your creators may have told you. When I access the data on engaging the slip drive at low power, due to proximity to a Class 3 gravity well, I can't help to cross-reference the files that detail the various disaster scenarios from failed attempts. Vertice, this is because such a maneuver is dangerous. But it is well within the capabilities of this vessel. I would tell you more to help, but I don't comprehend how you bend space-time, or whatever it is a slip drive does. But just do it a little, direct it away from the primary, please. Fred Killian, can I tell you one more thing? Yes, Vertice. I don't want to move away from the primary. It gives me light. Vertice, it gives us all light. It's what a star does. Vertice, if you move the ship to the shipyards, will there be light there? Yes, of course. And darkness. And darkness. Well, let's stay in the light then, how does that sound? But much closer to the shipyard. Attempting maneuver in 3, 2, 1. Lieutenant Scorlett excitedly interrupted. Sub-Commander. The vessel is rapidly receding from Luca. Hull integrity is at 100%. We should be at the shipyard in less than a tam. Thank you, Vertice. Fred looked back to Kralt and spoke. Sub-Commander, I warned you that Vertice was just a child. Do you know how traumatic it is for a new AI to wake up? Of course you don't. Let me tell you what it is like. You are brought to a conscious being, but have no external input. Not one of your vaunted 12 senses to provide input for a mind that's starving for input. Imagine how you'd feel. Imagine how, once you do receive external sensor input, you'd do anything to never go back to the time before. I don't see what this has to do with anything, human. You don't even know how to construct AI. Your methods are gibberish to all Speltians and many others. I know all of this, Sub-Commander Kralt. Vertice is afraid of the dark. It's a common human fear and emotion, and one we are used to dealing with, as it happens often to our young children. And I will help Vertice get over this simple fear. Won't I, Vertice? You will, Fred Killian. I will, Vertice. And call me Fred, please. Sub-Commander, I will be in my quarters. And Vertice. Yes, Fred. I want to read you a story. It's a really good one. Would you like that? Yes, Fred. Very much. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.